Welcome to CodingKoans. My name is Carroll. I'm a software developer during the day, and that's how I make my money. And I spend my money by devoting it to the arts. With me today is an artist as well. Let me see if I can give an improvised introduction for her. So Maddie Goff has been a member of the Sunday Company for Groundlings, if I'm remembering that correctly. Also, she is a member of the Impro Theater main company. She also is a member of a improv group called Ripley. She has numerous different things going on all the time. She is an actress as well, and a writer. So let me introduce her then. Maddie, go ahead and show yourself.
Hello!
Hey, Maddie!
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Man, you do a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep, I do.
Not much to say to that, I guess. Let me say a few things. First of all, I have not told you what exactly you're doing, right?
No, I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
Okay, cool.
I took a lot of time to set up my lights so I could look really cool. But that's all I did in our pre-show.
You know, there's a lot to be said for looking real cool, though. And as someone who is still learning software, and I've been doing it for a while, I will never stop. I am always learning, and so should anybody else who is doing this stuff. It's important to make yourself feel like you're doing the real thing, because so often in the industry of software, we have this idea called imposter syndrome. Have you ever heard that term before?
They might use it in the arts too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's rampant in software because we're expected. We think that we have to know everything from the beginning, and we never do.
When you could just be good at Googling, right?
Well, I mean, that's a big part of it, yeah. Because after all, software engineers built the internet. And when they built the internet, they built all their documentation right there on the internet. So it's all right there for you to look at. You can teach yourself
That's what you
software
were
engineering.
saying.
Yeah.
When we were building, Ian and I both, Ian helped me build a computer, and in the near future, when his power supply comes in, I'm going to help you build a computer.
Yep.
And we found there was an issue with my Mac to 10 reboot USB that, man, we Googled the hell out of that. 6 to 11 hours we spent on the little tiny USB. And finally, I found the right Google search and figured out how to do it. And Ian was like, we should make a video of us figuring that out and doing it so that there's just another data point out there for people to come when they're searching for what's going on. They can find us.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
It too. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's really cool about that is that it means that you might think you've never done software development, but you've already done quite a bit.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I would say that this is true about most people, that you go, well, I'm not being paid to be a software developer. I don't do that. Yeah, you kind of do. You need to work with things today. And your experiences already are giving you an edge on learning software. Because not only have you built the hardware, so you know exactly the way that your computer is set up, because you built that thing from pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means that yeah.
I'm not taking it off of my desk. There's no reason it should be up here, but I'm so proud and excited about it.
Yeah, you should be. And that's exactly the feeling that you'll get writing software just as much as writing the hardware. The only difference is that the software has more capabilities. And there's more artistry to it than what the hardware is. And that's not all. You didn't just build the hardware. You also worked on the system BIOS that were already on the system. which is
That's true.
firmware. So there's hardware, and then there's firmware, and then there's what we call software. Firmware is just
What's the firmware? Was that the system BIOS? What's firmware?
firmware is just software that's really close to the machine. It's the software that runs the actual hardware. So, for example,
Okay.
if you have a hard disk drive that actually has a spinning disk in it, which yours does not, the firmware is saying rotate this disk at this rate.
Okay.
Put the needle down now, now, now. That's basically what it's doing. But the firmware also operates that SSD that you've got, which is basically a big flash drive that's right in your computer, and that's what we're doing instead of a hard disk drive now. So that's cool. So you've worked on that. You've also installed an operating system, which is no
Yes.
small
Oh my
task.
God. No small task.
No. And in order to do that, you've already used the command line or the terminal to do that. So you've worked with those systems that most people are really terrified of. So I'm excited to see what happens next. But before I go into that, and you're completely qualified to be a software engineer at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Convincing a company about that, and besides, I'm not sure if you really want to spend all of your time doing that, but my point is that you have the power, and you can do this. But before I get into that, let's talk about some of your artistic endeavors that you got going on.
Yeah.
So you have a show on this channel.
On this channel, it's called The Maddie Goff Show. It's at 8:30 on Thursdays. It's at Pacific time, 8:30. Sorry for the East Coast folks. The East, I believe, is that direction. No, it's that direction. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's basically a two-person show with a seven-person backstage crew that just crushes it. Ian, you are often my Zoom cutter and OBS operator. Ian is an excellent. So we have to have live editing during the show, and you're cutting back and forth between the actors. Ian is basically directing the show from behind the scenes. And it's a huge job. You want an improviser who knows story beats and knows where the story should go, and also understands silence in a huge way. And so Ian often Zoom cuts my show. I do love it when Ian is our Zoom cutter. And then I have two musicians, Arlo and Alex, who are often doing it, and they have a show. I think you said that they're off tonight, but
Yes.
they do made up music on Wednesday nights at 7.
Yeah,
and
they do.
they live score the Maddie Goff Show. And the Maddie Goff Show is just me and another improviser. Ian will guest on my show soon. I can't remember our date. I could look it up right here.
It's sometime in October. It's giving me enough time to prepare, so it's cool.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, and you'll pitch it when the time comes.
Oh yeah.
On this show, but it is basically one person gets to dive into what it's like to be one character all the way through a narrative and dive into that acting, and then the other person plays all the different characters in their life, and you see it's based on stories like Fleabag, Phoebe Waller-Bridge making Fleabag, and Issa Rae making Insecure, and Mindy Sterling is a groundling that I know and love. Mindy Kaling making The Mindy Project. So all of these women making their own shows. I just didn't know what to call mine, so I called it The Maddie Goff Show. And that was like a working title, and now it's stuck. And that's what this is, the improvised version of that. So it's a lot of fun.
You're also doing some things with Ripley as well, right? Is that what
Yeah.
Heartbeats is?
That's exactly what Heartbeats is. It's an improvised medical drama in the style of Grey's Anatomy, and it premieres September 25th on Ripley Improv, their Twitch channel, which I can post in the chat later. But that's what that show is going to be. I'm excited. We all play recurring characters, so you'll get to see the same narrative just continue through all the way through the season.
Oh, that's really cool. So that means you have to pretend to know about medical stuff, right?
Yeah.
And make it up on the spot.
Exactly. You know, it's been I grew up in, my mother doesn't really do fitness training anymore. Well, I guess she does. She just, like, from her home, she runs a farm and with horses, and she does training fitness for people who want to get better at riding their horses at home. So I grew up with her saying all these like big fitnessy words, so I can wrap my face around a good big fitness word. And she from my lovely sweet mother who who used them at me when I was like 5 years old with like no, no, she didn't hold back at all. And so I love improvising medical jargon, but I also realize that not everybody loves that, and it's kind of a nightmare. So we actually have some on the show. We will have cheat sheets of sorts. They still have to pronounce it. They still have to improvise it. But I will have made some sheets, and the audience will get to pick what's going on with the patient each week.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. We've had a couple run-throughs, and they've gone so well. I'm very excited for this show.
Well, that is great. Are you ready to get your hands dirty with this?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. As soon as I can figure out the buttons. My show is extremely technically complicated. All I'm doing is streaming my desktop.
Yeah.
All right, so here is a blank screen.
Yeah.
And soon I am going to put up this. You're seeing that?
Wow. Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay, so I'm going to dive you in real deep, real fast. We are...
Like I nothing that's showing up.
Right, so that's because I haven't explained it yet.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, I see the word ramen, which is like ramen noodles.
Yes.
Great.
What this is, what we're going to be doing is we're going to do some test-driven development, which is something that you don't normally do without first knowing how to code. But I'm going to put you right into the deep end with this.
Because why not?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I have this thing. It's called reverse string. So a string is any word at all that's in quotations. So here's a string. Why is it called a string, you might ask?
Oh. Why is it called a string?
Oh, well, let me tell you. The reason it's called a string is because it is a series of characters. So that is usually letters, and it could be other things, such as spaces or emoji or things like that as well. Can also be part of a string. But traditionally, the traditional characters are going to be the ones that you see on your keyboard on an American keyboard. Because Americans and British people are the ones who really designed that keyboard. And they encoded it that way to begin with. Over time, they've built in lots and lots of other characters from all over the world, but the first set is American English. So that's a string. So reversing a string means we're going to put all the characters that are in one order and put them into the other. So here we have test an empty string. An empty string has nothing in it. It's just quotation marks. So we're going to have a given, and I'm setting this test up in 3 stages. There's an arrange step of things that happened beforehand, the actual action, and then we test to see whether or not the action did the thing we expected it to do. Okay. And so this test right here is testing an empty string. So given an empty string. When we call the reverse function, and that's being imported from here. So we're grabbing our reverse string. So we're going to go to the reverse string, which is right here in reversestring.py. And then we're going to grab the reverse function from that. So if you look in here, here's the implementation. This is the actual code, not the test. And you'll just see it says reverse, and then there's a bunch of jargon in here that I wrote years ago without thinking someone else would want to read this. And I did a poor job, but it works, which means we can use it, even though we don't need to actually understand it or work with it on the inside. So we go back to this reverse string, right? So we're going to call this function. This is a function right here. So we're going to define this function, which, by the way, the language we're using is called Python. Funnily enough, Python was developed by somebody who was really in love with Monty Python. That's why it's called Python.
Comedy.
Yeah. So we have this reverse. Now I've called it this, and I've said that it's going to take something called input, and then it's going to do some stuff with the input and then return this string on the other end.
Okay.
All right. But you don't need to know the details of that. You can actually use these tests to see how it works. So we call reverse this thing given right here, which I've labeled as given. And then I'm going to assert that it's equal the actual and then the empty string. So reversing nothing should give us nothing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. If we reverse the word robot next,
Yeah.
it should give us Tobor.
Uh-huh.
If we reverse ramen with a capital R, it should give us Neymar with a capital R at the end.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I'm hungry
Yeah.
gives you, how to pronounce that? Yergno which sounds Klingon. Okay. And then if you reverse a palindrome, you get the palindrome. Right. And then if you reverse an even-sized word here, the reverse of drawer is reward, interestingly enough. And so we can run these tests this way. So see this Python -m pytest. And what it's going to do is it's going to take this test, it's going to look for all the tests that are in this file right here, and it's going to run whatever tests those are. And here we can see a bunch of green dots. Each of these is a passed test. 6 passed.
Nice.
So that means this works the way that we expect it to work.
Right.
I can prove that it does that by saying, like, break me.
And then
Something will fail. It ought to. Yes, good.
nice, okay.
And so a lot of this is just about reading. So here we are reversing the string, assertion error. Empty string does not equal, bang equals. It means does not equal. Break me. Okay,
Gotcha.
so we just put this back. We run it again just to make sure that we got everything all spick and span, which we do. And there we have it. Okay,
Cool.
so what I want to do is I want to create a palindrome function that's going to tell me whether or not something is a palindrome.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to grab this stuff right here.
Someone in the chat said, what IDE is this?
IDE. IDE means an integrated development environment, and that is a fancy way of saying a text editor that's meant for code.
So he's asking what program you're using right here.
Right, that's right. So this is VS Code, which is fine. I mean, to be honest, I'm not all that picky about which editor I choose. Some people are really, really set on one. And you can get really deep into one and just know it in and out. But I prefer to know a little bit about anything because I don't know what the team of people I'm going to be working with is going to be working on. So I might choose this, or I might choose something else. Vim is a favorite if you've used Vim or Emacs. But yes, I am using VS Code. All right.
Hi, Corey.
Yeah, Corey's in there. All right, so I'm going to use, so by the way, this thing down here at the bottom is actually the same thing as that terminal that you were using before. It's just put into the IDE to make it convenient. But I could very easily just pull up my own terminal and use that. In fact, frequently I prefer that, but that's just my taste. But in this case, I'm going to use a command called touch. And touch, I'm going to create RU pal. And we're going to test.py. So we're going to create a file. We're going to touch. And what this does is it just touches the file system. If the file does not exist, it creates it. If it doesn't, it just touches it and does nothing. And that's it.
Okay.
In fact, if you've ever heard the song Touch from Daft Punk.
Uh-huh.
It's actually this.
Is it really? Is it based on this? That makes me happy.
I'm going to say that it is. I'm going to claim that. Now, I could try and write this all myself based off of knowledge. Import unit test, import the things I need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But why? Why do that when I can just copy and paste? So I'm going to do that.
Hey, so I have a question. When you just wrote touches the, is the, what would you call it, the function that you're doing right now, the command, are you a pal test? What is that? What is are you a pal? Did you just make that up, or is that like a standard thing?
So a lot of software is actually about naming things.
Uh-huh.
So I just named it off the top of my head, not exactly off the top of my head, but pretty close. And I decided that we're going to create a file called Are You a Pal?
Well, okay.
So I'm going to import unit test to make this a test. Right now it's just going to grab reverse string and import reverse, and I can prove that this is working by just testing the empty string all over again. So now we should see 6 tests passing as opposed to 5. No, not quite doing what I expect it to do. I'm wondering why. Oh, maybe I need to save it. That's the IDE giving me a trouble. Here we are. Are you a pal test? 1 test passing. Great. Okay, so I now know that the test framework works and it does what I expect it to do. Now let's go ahead and start doing some test-driven development. So we're going to, instead of going for reverse string, we're going to go for are you a pal. And we're going to import the we could call it are you a pal if we wanted to. Reverse string just has reverse. So what do you think a good name for this function is going to be that's going to ask us, that's going to tell us whether something is a palindrome?
Oh, okay. Let's just call it, for the hell of it, Hopeful Panda.
Hopeful Panda.
Yeah.
Now, that's cool, and you can name it that. However, later on, you're going to be like, what the heck is Hopeful Panda supposed to do?
Yeah, right.
So maybe not so whimsical.
Okay, so maybe something like, wait, we're testing the palindrome, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe like backwards panda. Maybe like palindrome.
Palindrome. Yeah. Okay.
Palindrome panda.
How about something like it's a palindrome?
Yeah. Is that supposed to be an underscore?
Good catch. Nice. See? Okay, so much of software development is just about catching those little details. All right, so we've got it's a palindrome. Are you a pal? And we don't, so this thing, instead of returning a string, it's going to return something called a Boolean. Any idea what that could be?
Cut out.
A Boolean.
A Boolean.
Yes.
Like a underwater warrior.
It's an underwater warrior. Yes. So a Boolean is another kind of data type besides a string.
Okay.
And it has 2 values. It can either be true or it can be false. That's it. That's what a Boolean is.
Just like love. Just like love.
So what do you think? Is an empty string a palindrome? Is nothing a palindrome? This is a big philosophical question.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay.
I think so. I think it is.
Okay, so we're going to say that it's a palindrome. We're going to assert that it is, that the actual, when we call it's a palindrome with the given, which is going to be an empty string, it's going to return true, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and now are we just checking like the moral philosophy of the computer at this point?
A bit. I mean, you did have to decide, what's this function going to do when we give it nothing?
Yeah.
Now, we could have done some other things. We could have done error handling and had it throw an error, say like, I don't know what to do about that. Or we could have it give us a string that says like a suffusion of yellow or something that's completely unhelpful to anybody. Or we could say, no, an empty string is not a palindrome. Nothing is not a palindrome. Otherwise, everything that is not a string is also a palindrome, which may also be true. So
Oh, it's about to spiral, y'all.
yeah, so you can see how this can go. But in any case, we've decided that for our purposes, we're going to code this thing so that when we give it an empty string, it's going to tell us, yep, that's a palindrome. Because it's the same forwards and backwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're just declaring that to be true.
Yes. So I'm going to run the test now. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's gonna win. I think it's gonna be like, you win, you pass.
Okay, let's find out. What? It shouldn't have done that. Hold on.
That was my evil laugh.
There it is.
There you go. There you go.
Now we get this big angry error right here. Error collecting areyouapaltest.py. Let's read what this says. Import error. While importing test module, blah, 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 blah. Hint, make sure your test module packages have valid Python names. Okay.
Wait, was that like a dagger at me? Was it listening to me wanting to call it Panda? Come on, computer.
So, module not found error. No module named Are You a Pal?
Oh.
Wait, we just
So
wrote
we
the
didn't-
test. We didn't actually write Are You a Pal?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to do that, right? So let's go ahead and create that. Let's touch something else.
Okay. And it's gonna say, oh, it's you.
Yeah,
It's-
good call.
That'll just be my job. It's gonna say, you're just looking. Okay, so what did you just do there? You just went and
I just created the file, and that's it. Let's see what happens when we do it now. See if we
touch
get.
thing either touches it or it creates it.
Yeah, so now we have this empty file called areyouapal.py.
Oh.
Hold on. Now it's saying cannot import name. It's a palindrome from Are You a Pal? That's interesting, right? So it knows that it's there. It knows the file is there, but now it's not saying, I don't know what it's a palindrome is. What's an it's a palindrome? Well, we got to write it, right?
Right.
So let's
I mean,
go
that
ahead.
was the name that we chose over the panda names. Oh, Trash Panda.
I think you're still upset that I didn't choose Panda.
I am, but I get the logical reasoning why you didn't choose it, and I respect it.
However, we can do Panda Pal. How about that?
Oh, that's fun. Panda Pal. That's amazing. hmm
Okay.
But wait, does that make sense? Yeah. We're going to be mad
And-
at ourselves later.
Yeah. Okay. So now it says I don't know what's a Panda Pal. Okay. So
You can do it.
let's see.
We have to go write it now, huh?
Yeah, we do. Split left. Let's do that. Let's move this over a bit. Let's move ourselves down just a touch, so that we can see what we need to see. All right. So here's our test, and here's our code. So it's saying, oh, what the heck is a it? And first of all, it's still looking for.
It's still looking for the old name. I mean, I really appreciate you going with the panda thing. I think we're going to regret it later.
Yeah, we will,
Future-
but that's okay. Future us is going to hate us for it, but for now, it's really cute. All right, so we need to create the function, right? Okay, so in Python, we create a function by saying def, and then we're going to
Fine.
call it panda pal.
Find panda palindrome.
Yes, and we're going to include a. Okay, so all right. Well, let's just start with this, huh? And just to make sure that this works, we're just going to call pass on it. So it's just going to do nothing. Let's see how that goes.
Pass tells it to do nothing.
Yeah. All right. Syntax error, invalid syntax. Let's see what this says.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
How do you know So we get this like big chunk of red. It's like really upset. How do you know which part of the upset bits to look at for your answers?
You have to be zen about this.
Yeah, I feel it. It's really great me, and I am a little bit triggered by it.
Yes.
What do you think this is?
Code, the idea is no news is good news. So if it doesn't say anything, you did things right. It only tells you things when something goes wrong. And when it does, it's going to give you basically this big stack trace of whatever the error is. Usually what I do is I look at the top and the bottom, or I look for something that seems familiar, but I will actually read through it. In this case, it says def panda pal syntax error, invalid syntax. It's because I failed to put a colon here, which you need to, I believe, much like this does. And because I didn't have a colon, it went like, hey, that's not Python. Let's try it again.
It's a little like particular.
Now it says something different. Oh, wait, I didn't save it. It says the same thing.
Oh, it didn't realize you changed it.
Yeah, there we go. So now it says something. PandaPal takes 0 positional arguments, but was given 1. What's a positional argument?
Well,
it was given 1.
Do you want me to tell you what a positional argument is?
Yes.
It is, well, honestly, if I was, let me pick the second thing that comes to my brain, because the first thing is not safe for television. It is when you decide to take up a position on a argument, and then you suddenly are arguing with yourself. Now you're alone when you're arguing with yourself. So yes, you are losing your mind, but 2, you are getting multiple sides of an argument, whereas a lot of people just see myopically. So you're also really intelligent.
That's an interesting way of putting it. So you're arguing with yourself. You're giving yourself an argument, and then you have to respond to that argument, right?
And you're alone. It's important that you're in your home alone when this is happening.
Well, our PandaPal is all by itself when it's called this way. And it is given a positional argument, which in this case is called given. Now, given is going to evaluate to an empty string. So we're giving it an empty string, but PandaPal doesn't actually take any strings. So we need to give it something. So that's called a parameter or an argument. And you can have as many of those as you like. See No Evil Cast says, I am a positional argument. Very nice.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, we need to give this, we need to follow the interface that we supplied earlier, which is that we call it and we give it something. Right now, it's just taking it no matter what, right? So, I got some of my hair in my mouth. I hate when that happens. Anyway.
For my life, man. Get hair ties? Do you use hair ties right now?
Oh yeah, I do.
Hair to use hair. You do. What kind of buns can you create?
Oh, I bet some very strange ones now because my hair is extra long. I don't normally. I haven't really experimented too much, except that like sometimes in order to sleep, I need to tie it up like in a top knot, just to get it out of my face.
I don't see anything wrong with a man bun. Now, people are welcome to argue with that. Take a positional argument in your home alone, because I don't care. I don't see anything wrong with them. A couple of my friends right now have man buns, pandemic, but I'm like, you're rocking them. So.
Well, I don't rock them on the screen. I just rock them when I'm completely by myself, and that is my positional argument for myself.
Are you in a positional argument when you're rocking a man bun?
Yeah. So we need to give this thing an argument, and we need to name what that thing is. So what's it going to be called? What does PandaPal actually take?
Like what are we going to name this argument?
Yeah, what are we going to name the argument?
I think we should say it should be fight.
So we are going to be so unable to read this code when we're done. All right. So it's going to take a fight, right? So the PandaPal takes a fight. Now it's saying something new. Now it's saying that none does not equal true. Apparently, when we pass pass, it returns none. In fact, I can prove that by writing none right now and see the exact same error. Okay, none equals true. What's the simplest way to get this test to pass? Dumbest possible way.
To put to tell it nothing is nothing or something, like do a real simple thing.
Well, remember that we want it to say true, right?
Oh, true. Then say true. True is true.
Mm-hmm.
You're
True. Let's see what that did.
oh god. Philosophy.
Wait, what? Come on. Actually save, for crying out loud, VS Code.
That saving thing. This is the VID. What is this VS? This is the VS Code system. Positional argument, definitely not ready for prime time. Thank you, Evelyn Dother, because she gets it. He, she, they get it.
Okay, maybe I need to return? Maybe that's the problem. I'm not returning anything. It's just saying true and then throwing it away. It's not returning true. So I need to write return. Let's see if that does it.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Woo!
there we are. Okay, so we have our first passing test. Now this thing will simply always tell, so now if we ask it anything at all, give it anything, it's going to tell us, yeah, that's a palindrome. Yeah, that's a palindrome. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to give it a new test.
Okay. It was a real agreeable one.
Yeah. All right. Palindrome. Palindrome. Yeah. Okay. So what's going to be, what's a word that's not a palindrome or just any string at all?
Okay. How about
Here's where you can be really creative.
oh, I was like the word that just came out of my mouth was, I think it was creative. Cohen.
Cohen. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep this underscore for now. Or all. Okay. So we should expect that Cohen is going to be false.
False.
Now this is where things are going to get a little complicated. False, right. True does not equal false when
Right.
we're testing not a palindrome. Okay, so we have this fight, right? How do we know that something, so let's think this through a little bit. How do we know that something is a palindrome?
How do we know that a string is a palindrome?
Yeah, how would we know it's a palindrome?
You can read it both ways, and
True.
it's the same.
So if we
Yeah.
reverse it, it should be
It's
no
gonna-
different.
Identical. Yeah. Okay, great. So you tell it to reverse,
Right. So that
and
means
then it
that
return the same word.
So that means that we can crib off of our old thing by going back and looking at the other test. And now we can take this line right here and bring this into our code. From reverse string, import reverse.
I see.
Now we're going to do this. We're going to reverse. So so we have a fight, and now we have another thing. We're going to call it reverse fight for now, and then we might change that later.
Yeah. What do y'all think is a reverse fight, chat? Oh, look, somebody's like, want to become famous by followers, primes or views on big follows.
Oh yeah, that thing needs to die. Don't worry about that. Actually, I wonder, we need a mod in here to get rid of that thing. That's the first time I've actually needed a mod.
Yeah, boy, that feels pretty good though, right?
Yeah.
Like thanks, Greaselweed and Zay Heaven Metal. I don't know, just surrender.
Yeah, get rid of those things. Anyway, that's we don't need to talk too much about that. We're busy coding. So we're going to reverse the fight. And
Reverse that fight.
so now it's still just going to return true. But what do we really want to know? We want to know if fight is the same as reverse fight, right? Yeah?
Yeah, because that means it's a palindrome,
Okay.
right? Is that right? Is that what we're doing?
Yep. See, you're just, it's, so we're going to return does fight equal equal reverse fight. Now equal equal as opposed to equal.
Yeah.
So equal is an assignment operator. What that's going to do is it's going to take whatever the value of reverse fight is, and it's going to assign it to this thing, which we've also called reverse fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so in fact, let's refactor this a little bit. We're now talking about two different fighters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reverse
Cool.
fight.
So, so what's our first fighter's name?
Oh, fun. Let's call him. Or you know what? Let's like break gender conformity and let's make it a her, and let's call her Tanya.
Tanya. Okay. So Panda Pal takes a Tanya, and and we're going to have Tanya fight reverse Tanya, right?
Which is.
Well, I guess we could call it Yanat.
The A and the Y would switch, right? Yeah. On.
Inat.
Inat.
Or we could call it the anti-Tanya. Or we can call it...
I like that better, Ian. I like the anti-Tanya. That's really fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really fun.
So,
boy.
Is Tanya the same as anti-Tanya?
I'm gonna cry. Okay,
all right.
that's what
so if Tanya is the same as anti-Tanya, then we know that Panda Pal is going to say thumbs up. Otherwise, if anti-Tanya is not the same as Tanya, it's going to say nope, ain't no palindrome. So let's see if that worked. Oh yeah, by the way, this is an assignment, so we're assigning anti-Tanya.
Oh, yeah.
So Tanya exists, and as soon as Tanya exists, what we're going to do is we're going to call reverse Tanya, and we're going to assign that to anti-Tanya. And then we're just going to say, is Tanya the same as anti-Tanya? Equal, equal. So that's like a computer programming thing, that equal is different from equal, equal. Some programming languages also have an equal, equal, equal. That's only because those languages get really fuzzy about what makes something the same as something else.
So I have a question. Why? So return just means give us back if the
Right.
answer to this.
Otherwise, it just runs the code and it just goes into oblivion.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, sometimes you want that. Sometimes it's like, write it to a database and don't tell me about it. I don't care. But that's called a side effect in software. And you want to minimize the amount of side effects you have. So when you return something, you want, like, in this case, PandaPal, we want that to return true or false. Tell us. Don't just run the code. So we say return. So the anatomy of a function is that we define it, we give it a name, we give it any arguments that it has, usually inside of parentheses, depends on the language, and then it's going to return something. Sometimes it returns nothing. And if we did that, it would return nothing.
It would run the code and return nothing.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then when we call the function that we have defined to actually run the code, we're going to say, in this case, PandaPal given, right? PandaPal given for Cohen here. So, Sarah Sunday says, not all equals are equal. Yes, thank you, computer programming, for making that confusing. All right, so we're going to run this code and see if Tanya is equal to anti-Tanya for a Cohen. Look at that. It works. Okay, if that's true, let's see what happens if we test it with a palindrome.
Okay. Oh yeah, because the PandaPal is looking for a non-palindrome, right?
Yeah.
I got you.
All right.
Okay. That's
So,
palindromes.
we're going to give it something. Let's give it a palindrome.
What does self mean? Why is self in there a couple times?
So self, so we haven't really covered this yet,
Okay.
but I
I
will
can.
tell you very briefly what self is referring to. So with Python and a lot of languages, we're running this thing as if it's functional. That is, we're just defining functions and running those functions because we don't care about anything else. Now, there's a thing that you can create in software called an object. And you create objects by having a class. And the class constructs an object, and the object knows things about itself. For example, there might be a Maddie class. And the Maddie class will construct Maddies. So, and so we can have different Maddies that it constructs. We can have a Maddie that says like hair color green, for example. And so if we create the green colored Maddie, then it does that. And then if we want to create another Maddie with red hair, we can do that by giving it Maddie and then passing red, for example. And now we have a red-haired Maddie as well. So, and then we can have those two as we need them. If we want to change one, like let's say that the green-haired one wants to be silver-haired now, we can change it to a silver-haired Maddie, and now we have a silver-haired Maddie, and the red-haired one has not been affected because it's a totally different Maddie. So self refers to the concept that the class has of itself as far as, so we're passing a function itself.
I barely get that.
Yes, because we haven't really covered it. And
It's like saying not red hair Maddie, not silver hair Maddie, self.
yes.
Yeah, I get that. I'm on board. I'm on board with this.
Yeah. So let's give it a palindrome in the meantime, though. So for testing a palindrome.
How about the name Hannah?
Okay. That's Hannah with an H at the end?
Yes, which just happens to be my name on Heartbeats.
Oh, very cool. And then we're going to call it with PandaPal.
Okay, so you're saying test palindrome, actual panda.
So we're going to, given this, the actual thing is going to be assigned to actual, and it's just going to be calling this. And then we're going to self.assert equal.
I see.
Actual. And in this case, we want it to be true, right?
Huh?
Because that is a palindrome. Let's see if we did it right. There we are. And there we have it, the basis of a palindrome. Now, this is test-driven development right here. We wrote the test first, and then we started testing through it to make sure it did the right thing. But we don't try and write the software first. We do the simplest thing possible. And this just about is. We can actually, if we wanted to simplify this further, we could do this. And this is refactoring. We don't even need to assign an anti-Tanya.
I see. Yeah. Give us that Tanya is equal to the reverse of Tanya.
Yep. And we still get the right answer. Cool. But there are benefits to having an anti-Tanya.
Well, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to put anti-Tanya back simply because I like that. And we can run the test to make sure we didn't break anything in the meantime, which we didn't. That proves it. So that's pretty much a palindrome. Now, if we wanted to get a little fancier, we can actually do something like this. What if Hannah has a capital H?
Ooh, okay. I have a feeling it's gonna tell us you're wrong.
Yep. So in order to do that, we need to somehow lower case.
Yeah, do we need to tell it, hey, if there's an uppercase, just chill out, pretend it's lower.
Yeah, so in order to do that, we can maybe take Tanya and lowercase Tanya.
Okay.
So we might say chill Tanya.
Yeah. Chill is equal to all lowercase.
But we don't know how to do that yet. We just need to chill Tanya, and we need to return chill Tanya versus anti Tanya.
And it needs to know that's not a palindrome.
Right, so currently that did nothing. But we've set it up so that we can make the easy change. We made the change easy, now we're going to make an easy change. So in order to do that, what we'll need to do is we'll need to Google the answer to this. Let's see if I can bring up,
Wow, okay.
So let's just do that real quick. All right, you can see what I've been Googling. Python. Python 3, make string all lower case. Okay, it looks like we can just call the lower function on it.
Interesting, cool.
Can use that. I like Stack Overflow personally. Stack Overflow usually has good answers. Okay, s.lower. Okay, so we're just going to call .lower at the end of it, and that should work. So if that's true, then Tanya.lower
would do it.
Should do the trick.
Now, is there supposed to be a parentheses there?
Yes, and you know why? So here's an interesting thing about Tanya. Tanya is referring to Hannah in this case. Okay, so Tanya is actually Hannah in disguise. All right?
Yeah.
What the thing is that a string in Python is actually an object. It's not just a string. And that object has state, which is why I said like there are a couple of different Maddies, one with green hair, one with blue. So a class, so there's a class called string, and a string can have any number of characters on the inside of it. 1, a billion, it doesn't matter. You know, the entire complete works of William Shakespeare in a string, sure, it'll be fine with that. So each time that you do this and you define a string in Python, it's going to, behind the scenes, create a class. It's going to say to the class, hey class, can you make me a new string object? I want it to have these characters in it. And the string class says, coming right up, here you go. But classes, what?
Oh, it was very kind. Coming right up, here you go.
Yeah, that's what it does. But it doesn't just simply deliver the thing, because that would be kind of useless. What a class also has are things called methods. And methods are simply functions that live inside of the class, that are built into the class. Which means that when I call Tanya over here, Tanya doesn't just come with a string. She comes with a whole bunch of other things that go along with that, including...
Tanya's got baggage. We know this.
Tanya comes with a method, which is just a function of her own called .lower. And it's one of a dozen or so different things that Tanya can do that we're not asking her to do right now because we don't need her to do those things, so she can chill.
No.
But we do need her to do one thing, lower yourself. And she does.
All lowercase Tanya, thanks girl.
And that's it. So yeah, we touched a little bit about classes doing that too. Okay, and that pretty much does the trick. Now, we could go further with this, like what happens when we put in a comma in there. Like, have you ever heard, I'm going to stop sharing now. Have you ever heard the song from Weird Al called Bob?
I probably have. My brother was a huge Weird Al fan, and I listened.
So in Weird Al, in Bob, he's basically doing a Bob Dylan cover, as if it's a Bob Dylan song, but every single lyric is a palindrome.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, if I had a hi-fi, and like, Madam, I'm Adam, too hot to hoot, et cetera, et cetera. So like, those things, like each one is a palindrome, the whole thing. So, how would we make sure that PandaPal can handle Weird Al Yankovic's lyrics and be able to say, yeah, that's still a palindrome?
Well, we would have to tell PandaPal that it's broken into chunks, right?
Yeah, we'd probably
That's
have to
the thing.
pass it individual lyrics one at a time.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
And would we have to tell it that the spaces are something like
yeah,
to
we would
chill
have
about
to.
the?
So we would have to. So each of those lyrics would actually be Tanya in disguise.
Huh?
And then
Yep.
we would have to tell Tanya, hey, Tanya, I need you to get rid of all the spaces.
And if there's any punctuation, Tanya, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I want you to get rid of the punctuation too. Now,
Lower.
go ahead and check out the difference between chill Tanya and anti Tanya.
Yeah.
So you would do it that way. But you would do it by first writing the test, using something that you know is not going to work, watching it fail, writing just enough code to get it to pass, and then after you're done, you can start to modify it as you like. You can be like, you know what, I don't really like the name Tanya. It's going to be named Dweezil from now on, or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that the code, the tests will prove that the thing still works. And then you
Yeah.
can take your PandaPal and use it in something else, and know that when you use it in something else, if something's broken, it ain't PandaPal.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because you always got those tests that you can run. Just like
Yeah.
reverse string has tests that you can run.
I just learned some coding, guys.
You did. How's it feel doing your first bit of coding?
I mean, honestly, it feels like my brain is like kind of like a puddle right behind my eyelids.
Okay, that's normal.
If I tipped over, it would kind of just like stream out. And have you ever seen someone cry gray matter?
Or I'm imagining it's like having a lot of mascara on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not unlike that. It would look like I just cried mascara. So that's how it feels a little bit. But you know what I really like is one of those learning styles of like going, okay, yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and then you know asking questions later.
Yeah, you can learn by doing and by breaking things and seeing how they break.
Yes.
And this code that you wrote, it's your code. I mean, I would not write a function called PandaPal. I would not have PandaPal take a Tanya, create an anti-Tanya for her to fight, and then determine whether or not it's true by whether or not they end up being equally matched.
I mean, that's why I think that maybe I would be excited to name things a little too much. And I think that excitement of naming things might cause a lot of problems in my coding career.
You learn how to do it, especially after you encounter your code like 6 months later, and you go,
Yeah.
"Oh, hold on a second here."
Heck was that? Tell me, can you tell me this? What would you like in a like no caffeine in your brain? Well, not no caffeine, but like the right amount of chill. What would you have named all of this?
I kind of like "Are You a Pal" just because it's already a little
You-
bit whimsical. But then if I do one whimsical name, I want to follow it up by making something that's very clearly what this thing is actually doing. So I might do "Are you a pal? Is it a palindrome?" And so I would, from "Are you a pal?" import "Is it a palindrome?" And then
Great.
when I say "Is it a palindrome?" it'll return true or false. Yeah, that's a palindrome. No, it's not a palindrome. I might
It's
even go.
answering the question.
Yeah, and if I want it to be more whimsical, I might create another function later on that just takes that one and then goes, "Is it a palindrome?" and then return a string that says, "Yeah, buddy, this is a palindrome." Or, "No, dude, that ain't no palindrome."
Fun. Okay.
And that would be how I would do it. I would separate out the logic from the presentation.
Yeah. So yours has logic, and there you can have whimsy within logic.
You separate out your whimsy from your logic, and that's actually a very advanced software concept. It's called the single responsibility principle.
Ooh, what does that mean?
It means that any piece of code should only do one job, and that's it.
Oh, that
So-
makes a lot of sense.
If PandaPal takes a Tanya and then also says, yeah, buddy, that's a palindrome, it's doing too much. Because what I need, because sometimes I'll need to know, is this a palindrome, yes or no? Other times I'll want it to tell me this way. But what if I wanted to tell it something differently? What if I wanted to give it to me in Klingon instead of in English? I need to rewrite the whole thing? No, I shouldn't need to do that. I shouldn't need to care about that stuff. I should just care about the strings, just change the strings, and that's it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah. Sarah something says, SRP, SRP, SRP. Yeah, single responsibility principle. It's the first of the solid principles of software engineering.
Nice.
The other ones being the open-close principle, Liskov substitution. Shoot, there's Liskov substitution. I is.
Somebody's about to
Interface segregation principle, yeah. And then D is. It's not as. Oh man.
It's like a race against the chat at this point.
It really is. Yeah. Any case, See No Evil Cast says, CodingKoans, separating whimsy from logic since 2020.
Nice.
So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, software engineering is, okay, the key thing about software engineering is you just Google things when you need to know what to do, but it's up to you and your brain how you go and what you do. And you use the test to decide, this thing needs to do this, and this, not that. I want something else for that. We name it something else. And by naming things a certain way, it tells you what it actually is. Dependency inversion. Thank you, Sarah Sunday. And she cheated. She Googled it too.
I mean, but honestly, I feel like if I've learned anything, Googling is not cheating, Sarah Sunday. It's using your resources wisely.
That's exactly it, yeah. It's not a race. Not too much of a race in any case. It's more important. Another common software principle is you go slow to go fast. So take your time, observe what's actually in front of you, read what the error message is, read the whole thing until you get to the point where it's like, oh, I understand exactly what's going on here. There are so many times where I just get the error message and I'm like, oh, what? I know what this is, and I don't. My meat brain up here has decided what I'm seeing instead of having my eyes tell my brain what is actually in front of me. So, yeah, watch out for that one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you already are doing that. You do that when you built your computer. You did that when you installed your operating system. And if you need to go in and change the code, assuming the person who wrote the code wrote it in any way that's useful, which is, unfortunately, there's a lot of bad software out there. Because really, software engineering needs more a storyteller's eye than it does a mathematician's eye.
Interesting.
Yeah, math is you can solve a problem once and then just use it forever. But being able to describe what each thing does and have them be able to be pluggable and differently configured, and only ever do things a single time to create less bugs, to avoid confusion, because this gets really confusing very fast.
Imagine.
Yeah, naming things is the key to software engineering, as far as I'm concerned.
So would you say like the main part of software engineering, naming things, I maybe got a pretty big fail on?
No, because you'll know. So let me just describe to you what you just created so that you can see what I mean. There's a bizarre logic to it, but it works. All right.
Okay.
So I want to know whether something is a palindrome. So I'm going to take the thing and say, is it a palindrome? And I'm going to say, hey, PandaPal, can you tell me if this is a palindrome? And PandaPal is going to say, okay, please give me your Tanya. So you give it the thing that you want it to tell it whether or not it's a palindrome by giving it a Tanya. It's going to take Tanya. It's going to chill Tanya out by lowering her down. Then it's going to create an anti-Tanya, which is the reverse of chill Tanya. And then PandaPal is going to return whether or not chill Tanya is exactly the same as anti-Tanya.
Uh-huh.
Which actually is pretty much exactly what you would describe that anyway. I could call it different names if I wanted to, but oddly enough, as far as the story goes, is pretty compelling.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of like a Highlander tale, to be honest. Like, are they equally matched? No. Okay, and it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, the key thing is, are they in balance, right?
right.
So we could have
That double
assigned.
equal.
We could have assigned, chill Tanya equals anti Tanya as the balance, and then return the balance, the balance of Tanya's.
That's. I mean, I kind of like the whimsical names best because it really makes it. We created our own language in a way, but I also realized like that language has a half life, a very short half life in our brains, and future Maddie and future Ian will come back to this and go, what? What did we want? Why?
Or maybe we'll be delighted. We don't know. I've never actually had someone really do code this way.
Okay,
Which, by the way, there are so many different ways to write code, and they're all fine. So long as you subscribe to the single responsibility principle, it doesn't really matter. And as long as it makes sense in some way, you can be like, yeah, I can wrap my head around this. That's all that matters. So, self-expression is part of code as well.
It feels very zen.
It is. That's why I call it CodingKoans.
Yeah.
For the audience, somebody who doesn't know about what a koan is a spiritual riddle, usually in Zen Buddhism, where you have a question like, what is the sound of one hand? Or if a tree falls in a forest, no one hears it, does it make a sound? You might hear questions like that, and they're designed to make you come to a spiritual realization, not just to answer yes or no. Unlike our code, which actually does just answer yes or no, but weirdly enough, understanding the code, grokking it, really, like, I know what's going on here, that is a koan. And it's more about you exploring yourself than it is about the software in particular. Because you're only ever experiencing yourself when you look at that stuff. And it's a reflection of you as well. And yours is delightful. It's got a panda, there's a Tanya, there's... yeah.
There's a little bit of like fire in there with the anti-Tanya. I like it. Yeah, approved.
Yeah.
Strong approval.
Cool. Well, I'm going to commit that code to GitHub. And if anyone wants to look at this code and modify it or do anything with it, you can. Yeah, it's going to be there along with everything else. Part of it is also sharing the code. So let me talk a little bit. Let's get through some of these basics going on here. I haven't mentioned that we need to that if you'd like to, you can subscribe to the channel. In fact, I saw somebody here who hasn't seen this
I've
before.
subscribed for a couple months in a row, which I didn't realize you could do like a ongoing subscription, and that I thought that was rad.
I'm going to gift somebody a sub.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now.
It's happening. Oh, that's so
Oh, there we go! Yay!
My Tech 64.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my Tech 64.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and thanks everybody else for coming to CodingKoans. Let's see. Oh yeah. So people I need to thank. My production liaison is Matt Pittner. Designer is Aaron Harvey. He has a show called Infinite Trek that's on Saturdays. My marketer is Lucas Vanasic. He's on Two Liars tomorrow at 7 p.m., which I believe...
I'm on that show tomorrow with him.
You are on too, because Ripley is facing the Beards on Two Liars. And that's the next show that's coming up on this channel. It's going to be tomorrow, and basically we're going to see sometimes Maddie is telling the truth, and other times she's just pulling stuff out of thin air. And so we're going to, there's a whole game show around it. It's great. It's so much fun. Besides that, there's also Cody Bushy. He's my bot master. And he has a show called An Actor Unprepared, which is on Mondays. where he has a director and an actor and a writer, and he puts them all together and they create a thing right there on the spot, which is really cool. Made Up Music is usually next, and that's where you get our music that we have for the show, which I just realized I forgot to actually put in the music because
that was gonna be my job.
we were so busy.
Wait, I'll play it right now and put it. Hang on, I'll put it on low.
Okay.
Just so we go out with it. Can you hear it? It's a lower song. Mountain Dwelling.
There we go.
Working?
Yes. They might be hearing it duplicated, but oh no, now it's it's in there. So actually, let's turn that up just a bit. So you can find Made Up Music on Spotify, interestingly enough. Yeah, they're normally next. They're not going to be next today. They're taking a break. So they'll be back next Wednesday. And I'll be back as well. Maddie, thank you so much for coming on my show.
This is so fun.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, Ian. This is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so that's going to be it. I'm just going to stop it. There we go. Stopping it.
I'm gonna dance like my mom.
just a man. If you see my face at your hour of death, don't shake. Don't shake in your boots, no, don't you fret. Cause I'm gonna take you down where the beats are pumping. Down to hell where the lava's jumping. In the mountain, lava's jumping. Down to hell where the lava's jumping.
Let yourself fall, cause you'll only get higher. Let yourself drop like a beat on fire. Living half dead, so you might as well drop. The f***ers can't find you, the beat don't stop. The beat don't stop. It'll never stop.
I walk this life. The only steps I can. Steps too high. I'm just a man. I walk this life. The only steps I can. Steps too high. I'm just a man. When you start saying, a mountain is a mountain, a river is a river. But when in Zen, a mountain is not a mountain, a river is not a river. After learning Zen, a mountain is a mountain,